Today on CityCast Nashville, we're pulling back the curtain on downtown's live music scene. Ever wonder which bar pays its musicians the most, who the worst tippers are, and how audiences have changed over the last 20 years? Musician Mandy Shuker is here to give us an insider's peek at what it's really like to play on Lower Broadway. It's Tuesday, September 9th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. What song makes audiences go wild right now?
Pink Pony Club. Still, yeah.
That's the one. Okay. So how sick are you of playing it?
I hear it in my dreams.
Oh my goodness. I bet you do. Well, so let's get into it. How long have you been working downtown? When did you start? What instrument do you play? I want to hear it all.
Well, I'm a bass player, and I moved to town in 2006. A friend of mine from college already lived here, and she said, you have to come to Nashville. I had tried living in Austin, and it just wasn't really my scene. So she encouraged me to come up here, and I did, and she already had gigs lined up for me with this woman who used to work downtown named Shelly Bush. So I pretty much just walked straight into a full-time job. Even back then, it was a lot. So I just kind of got thrown right into it immediately.
Is that how it works? Like you really do have to know somebody?
It definitely helps. I know a lot of players downtown have had to go through the introductions and coming into town cold, not really knowing anybody, asking people to sit in and trying to prove themselves. And even right now, I do a hybrid of touring and working downtown. But I have definitely been full-time employed downtown, working doubles and triples 6-7 days a week. And it's now, especially with how many stages there's 30 bars, I think. All of them have multiple stages. So it keeps a lot of people going most of the year.
So what was your first bar you played at?
Layla's.
Oh, wow. And then where are you currently playing?
I have a Tuesday regular gig at the Tin Roof and fairly consistent Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever I'm in town at What's the name of that guy? Morgan Wallen's. Morgan Wallen's. Between there and Post Malone's have been my most recent weekend consistent gigs.
So I have to admit, I have not been to those two bars yet. So what's the vibe? What are you getting, especially at Morgan Wallen's bar?
It's a corporate bar. I don't know. It's, you go play at Robert's or Layla's and it's just a honky-tonk vibe. It's legit. You go into these places and it's very clean and polished and fancy food and definitely more upscale, not the honky-tonk vibe.
No fried bologna sandwiches or the recession special?
No recession special at Morgan Wallen's.
Well, so where do you park when you're going downtown and working?
Most of the bars do validation either through a QR code or a sticker that you put on your parking ticket. And there are 3 or 4 different lots that participate in this. So it really it depends on where you're playing. The validation will have the address of what garage. You kind of figure out which bar, I'm playing here today, so I have to park at this garage.
Well, we all got excited to hear about Metropolis launching the Park and Play, so free parking for musicians working downtown.
From what I've heard, that is available to union members. I have not looked into it for sure to find out if it's only available to union members. But, that's great because parking is astronomical, especially most of our gigs are 4 hours, and 4-hour parking, it goes up to the next tier of pricing after that. So you're there. It's a 4-hour gig, but you're there for 5 hours.
Oh, and then there goes everything that you paid.
Oh, yeah.
Parking.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, so you said you were working doubles, triples. Does that mean you're working 8-12 hours or so at a time?
Sometimes. I think I've aged out of that. I worked a double on Friday. And boy, did I regret it on Saturday. So most bars run 4-hour shifts, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 to 6, 6 to 10, and then 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So if you're in your 20s and have good knees,
Yeah, nope.
you can work up to 4 shifts a day.
Wow, that's wild. And then are these establishments feeding you all? Do you get free booze too while you're working?
It varies. Yeah, it varies from place to place. The Tequila Cowboy circuit, which is what Morgan Wallens is a part of, they give you a $50 tab per person, so you can spend that on food or drinks, however you see fit. It is nice to put in an order and have a meal ready to go at the end of the shift. The bartenders are really good about just taking your order and then putting it in right before you're done, so you don't have cold food.
What is the Tequila Cowboy circuit?
So there used to be a bar downtown called Tequila Cowboy, which is now Jason Aldean's bar. And it's just a corporation that bought a bunch of these places and have put artist names on them. So it's known as like the TC Restaurant Group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it covers like Aldean's and Wallen's, Lainey Wilson's, Bottoms Up, Posties, Miranda Lambert's, Casa Rosa, Luke Bryan's.
Wait, so the same company owns all of those bars?
Yes.
You're telling me Miranda Lambert does not own Miranda Lambert's bar?
She might have a stake in it.
But it's not a standalone. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
No, and so Gaylord owns Category 10, Dirks Bentley's, Old Red.
Well, do you ever see the stars whose names are on the bars come in? Maybe join you on stage?
That has happened mostly, I think, with John Rich. He's pretty active at his bar, and he actually is like an actual owner there. And these artists might be to some degree too, but I don't think as much because he's very hands-on over there and involved in stuff.
What is the best gig you have ever had downtown?
I don't know what the best would be, but for a long run, I worked with a good friend of mine that's from very close to my hometown, named Trenton Chandler, and we had a residency at Redneck Riviera. We worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday every week, and that was the most fun that I've had playing on Broadway. I was the band leader, and so he let me hire the people and kind of like run the show when the show wasn't happening, you know. I enjoyed being able to put together a band of my friends who were great musicians and having like a consistent group of people where you could put together, you know, fun transitions of songs, and you start doing the same kind of quirky licks in the middle and everybody catches on. You build a show over time. Nowadays, like, there's so many people in and out. Very rarely do I play a gig, even if it's a consistent gig, with the same people.
Really?
It's a revolving door of different people.
Y'all know I am a brand new dog mom, and Miss Lottie is very clear about her priorities. Sleeping in, not on her watch. As a border collie, she is relentless. When she wants a walk, she gets a walk. I gotta get out of bed, grab what I can, and head to the park. That's why I am so grateful for Huel Black Edition Powder. That's Huel. It's a complete meal that keeps me full, focused, and ready to chase after my very determined dog. At less than $3 per meal, it's packed with 40 grams of plant-based protein and 27 vitamins and minerals. No added sugar, gluten-free, and it tastes amazing in salted caramel or chocolate. Perfect for breakfast, lunch, or post-dog park. And now Huel has a game changer. Super Greens drink in a can. It's called the Huel Daily Greens Ready to Drink. Sparkling, delicious, and packed with 42 vitamins, minerals, and superfoods. Only 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, 1 gram of sugar, and it's made by dietitians. No powders, no pills, just grab and go. Flavors like blueberry, apple, and peach make getting your greens easy and scrumptious. Try Huel with 15% off for new customers today using my code Nashville at Huel.com/Nashville. Fuel your best performance with Huel today. So you're working with all kinds of egos too.
Mm-hmm.
So has there ever been like a fight on stage between bandmates?
I'm sure there has been. I had to fire a guy in the middle of a shift one time, and that almost turned into a fight, but Maybe he just didn't want to hit a girl. I don't know. He thought better of it and just left. But yeah, that's maybe the most tense situation I've ever been in.
Wow. Okay. So any other crazy nights you've had? Because I know that a couple years ago, the drummer fell through the front window at Roberts.
You know, it's funny. That's the guy I had to fire off the gig.
No! Oh my goodness. Whoa.
Not even kidding.
Well, he has quite the reputation then.
He's had a life, that guy.
Wow. Well, so I heard, he fell through the window and then got back up and then played the rest of the night.
I think he did. That was something. Like, I think that made national news, didn't it?
Yep, it sure did. Yeah. Had he been drinking or had he just slipped, or do we know the tea on that?
Most likely.
Yeah. I mean, not every day somebody falls through the front window of Roberts.
If that gig was going how the gig he was on with me went, he was drinking.
He was going to fall through something as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Well, any other crazy stories?
I know there's some in the cobwebs in the back of my brain.
That you've totally blocked out, I'm sure.
Yeah,
sorry to dig up old trauma.
Yeah. I mean, I've played late night gigs while I was 7.5 months pregnant, and very, very obvious escorts were bringing their dates into the bar and just it's just very peculiar when it's the winter time and it's not that crowded in there and 4 or 5 escorts walk in with their dates, and it's just like, oh, okay. What do you guys want to hear?
Pretty Woman, that's what you play.
For real.
Well, so what's the clientele like? So obviously we know about bachelorette parties and bachelor parties coming to Nashville. What's the dynamic and how has it changed since you started back in 2006?
I've watched it go from like a music, tourism for music, to morphing into tourism for partying, really. And there are still people that come in for the music. They're mostly the morning crowd. Like morning into afternoon is the older demographic, the families. The bachelorettes do start early, but they're good. You know, right around 10 p.m., it starts getting a little crazy. But they know the same 5 songs that are on the radio. They want to hear those songs, or they don't really participate. It's kind of a strange dynamic because I don't know what kind of like social shift has happened, but it used to be pretty standard for everybody to be clapping and cheering and requesting songs. And a lot of the time now, it seems like we really have to work very, very hard to get people's attention. And I don't know if I can pinpoint any blame for that. I think about people scrolling their phones and getting like quick fix cheap entertainment and not having to have any kind of response to it. And I wonder if people are just conditioned now to not respond when they're stimulated. I don't know.
That short attention span.
Very much. And I do see that a lot too. People will come into the bar, record 30 seconds, not even a full song, and then just leave. And I watch people do that all day, and I feel like they're coming in and grabbing something for a highlight reel and then moving on, and they're not actually experiencing the thing that they're posting on social media, most likely.
Well, I just saw something this morning on social media about a person being very angry, not at the tourists, but the influencers in Nashville. Like, let's have the tourists who love the music come enjoy the music, enjoy the food, but it's the influencers who are now coming to just grab content and to get the likes or whatever and not actually experience the joy of what Nashville really is. It's just like you said, the 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that.
And that makes a lot of sense. I'm watching it in real time, and it happens multiple times a gig. Like, that's interesting. I wonder what they're going to use that video for, or do they even know who they just saw or where they are?
Somebody's grabbing 30 seconds of your work, of your face, and blasting it out there. How does that make you feel?
I don't really know. I mean, I don't have any naivety about I'm downtown to play cover songs for tourists for tips. I get my artistic fix mostly in other places. I do have fun playing music. It's whatever I'm playing, it's always going to be preferable to the office job that I used to have, you know? So I guess I don't really have a strong opinion about it as to how it affects me as a performer, but I do like the overall aspect of how it affects everything. It does hinder people from tipping, possibly, or enjoying the restaurant that they're in if they're just hopping place to place and not engaging in the economy of it at all.
And then can you just give us an idea of how much musicians do make downtown? Do you have some sort of base? What are you working with?
Yeah, we do get a base pay, and it varies wildly from bar to bar. I think the lowest base pay downtown per musician might be $45 or $50.
For the gig or an
total.
hour?
Yeah.
Total.
No, total.
Okay.
And it can go up to $250 a person is the highest that I've heard of. And that is a very generous place that I would love to play.
Ooh, can we shout that place out?
It is Friends in Low Places. Garth Brooks Bar.
Really?
I would say that's the highest, and they're very generous.
Okay, we're going to get you in there.
Yeah, if anybody's working there, if they could call me to sub or anything, that would be fantastic.
As a single mom, you said that you were playing, 7 months pregnant. How has that changed your experience working at your job?
It has changed it a lot in that I have to be a little bit more on top of my schedule and things, which I am terrible at. I am not a schedule oriented person, but I have had to be because late shifts getting done at 2:30 are really hard when you have to get up at 5:30 to get someone ready for school. She's now in the second grade. That's how long ago that was. But it's made kind of the last minute scenarios impossible, really.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's a lot of, with as many stages and as many bands moving through the different places every day, there are schedule snafus a lot of double bookings, a lot of, oops, I forgot to hire a guitar player today kind of things. And I get maybe one or two of those calls a week, like, can you come to Legends right now? Our bass player didn't show up, or I forgot to book somebody. And those things, I used to be able to just hop right on that and be like, yep, I'll be right there. And I can't really do that stuff anymore. So it makes it a little harder to organize and manage my time.
There's a childcare crisis across our country right now, but where do you think we stand here in Nashville?
It's very expensive, more expensive than the base pay at most of these places. It's a roll of the dice and hoping it's a good tip day if I have to hire childcare outside of my norm.
Well, how can locals make your job easier when they visit downtown?
They could tip. Locals are the worst.
Really?
Yes. I know. Especially like after Preds games or things, we can always tell when the Preds people come in, they're locals and they're not going to tip us. They're not going to pay attention. So they could lead by example.
And then what have you learned about the city of Nashville doing your job?
It's a lot more than what I thought it was before I came here. I came from Texas and I primarily played country music and blues music. And that's really all I had experience in. But being here, there's just a plethora of everything you could imagine. There's all kinds of, there's a rap scene, there's hard rock, there's singer-songwriters, folk, everything that you could possibly want to get into is here. And there's a whole community of people, and everybody is, I have found, to be very supportive.
So not just country music.
No, not just country music. Yeah. And I have this argument fairly regularly when I go home with musicians back home that, do you still remember how to play real country music since you've been in Nashville? And I have to puff up and be like, okay, listen. That's not all that it is. Just because that's all you see doesn't mean that's all that's happening here.
How do tourists view Nashville?
I think that they view it as a party town for the most part. I'll tell on my partner. I hope she listens to this and is okay with it. But when we first started dating, she didn't want to tell people that she was dating a musician from Nashville because she didn't want to be that person. Because she came here to visit from Minnesota.
Wait, did you woo her from the stage?
I did. Not from the stage. We met at a function. But then the next day, of course, I immediately invited her to a show where she can see me on stage. So she lives here now. But she would tell people that she's dating someone from Madison, Tennessee. And they're like, oh, I've never heard of that. She said, I know, right?
If the mayor walked into your bar and you had a chance to talk to him after he tipped you very well.
Of course.
What would you say to him?
I would definitely thank him for his very generous tip. Ask him how the public transit conversation's coming along.
What are other musicians or the other locals that you work with at the bars talking about?
Infrastructure is it can get pretty frustrating on. This hasn't happened to me because I haven't done any late shifts on the weekends in a while, but we do have Facebook groups for downtown musicians where we commiserate and vent and work out ideas for things like this. And a guy posted a couple of weeks ago that he got stuck trying to get out of the garage for almost 3 hours because traffic is so backed up that he just couldn't get out. It's just the Wild West down there on the weekends. And so people are just doing whatever they want. So
literally anything they want on the streets. I saw things that it still haunts me. Anyway, bless your heart for doing what you do. Truly, I'm so proud of what you do and what our locals do for our city. And I love more than anything traveling and talking to people outside of Nashville about Nashville and the music and what they get to see and love. And it's the music and it's what you do. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, it's been such a pleasure, Mandy. And hey, listeners at home, if you happen to be a CityCast Nashville neighbor, I think we need to take a field trip downtown and go visit Mandy on one of these nights that she's playing. What do you say? You cannot respond because you are listening. But for folks who are not members, I highly recommend joining today. Our door is always open. It's only $10 a month for ad-free listening, exclusive event emails from Margaret. You can join today at membership.citycast.fm. So, Mandy, we will see you on stage.
All right.
We'll be
thanks.
in the audience, and we will be sure to tip a ton.
Yeah. Just clap when we're done with a song. Just a clap. It feeds the heart.
Well, this is for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!